books.
I haven't gotten that far yet.
Yeah.
Oh, because of two.
No. From. One. Yeah.
Yeah, have. Oh, isn't that like a punch?
The ghost goes.
But oh, he does say. Under this thing here. Oh, right. Right. So maybe they wouldn't use that for spelling. When
You'd say
comes to
tea
spelling.
time or tea time. Every time I say tea time, tea time.
Oh, he's grown up. I got it. Oh, to be
You've got one
again.
of those harder ones.
It is loud.
O-W.
That's the louder. Uh-oh. I think this one.
Now you're supposed to be all tidied up, and what I'm going to do is tell you a little bit more about what goes on in the classroom in the rotations, and then tell you what's been going on in the classroom see, you've just been going through rotations. We have not done the whole class activities with you very much. This is an example of something a child stamped out. I will put this in front of my face so it'll be guaranteed to be seen. What this says was, and I have this written on the back, all right, hidden away. It says, once I went to my grandma's house and my cousins came and we had a lots of fun. Now, this child stamped out just what he or she heard. One of the things I found interesting, like in terms of when I was first doing this with my students, they would stamp out, I mean, after they learned to listen for the sounds in words, and it's a practice kind of thing you can get better and better at, but they would stamp out what they heard. For example, in the word dress, they would stamp out dress with the j sound. But if they said to me, dress, I'd say, yeah, dress. Okay, I couldn't even hear what they were saying, but I could see what they were saying when they stamped it out. And I could say, oh, yeah, you know, lots of times we say it that way, but sometimes we also say it with a d sound, like in dress. Because now you have a way of seeing what the child's hearing. When this child here is saying a lot of, I can work with that child if I choose to kind of refine what the child hears. You know. Now, at the same time, I should mention, though, that, see, this child, or this is the kind of thing children have begun to stamp out. At the stamping station, they're not at the one-word or two-word level anymore. They're just stamping out what they want to. It's their own form of creative writing without, you see, being bound by my having to go over and check with anything or sit with the child. The child is doing it. Not child and teacher together, child. Now, at the same time that the activities are going on, like the children are rotating through the 5 stations and helping each other learn and being their own, being on their own teachers and stuff like that, what's been going on at the whole class level, well, first of all, at the whole class level, the children were getting read Decode-if-you-can, so they have a framework for knowing what the sounds were. When Decode-if-you-can was finished, it is recommended in the teacher's manual that that fade comfortably into continuing to read to children every day, which I happen to think is an important thing to do. And we get lectured about that sometimes, but I think it's really nice for children to be read to, and to be read to by a book that you can then leave out for them to see. So that whole class kind of thing kept going. When children were learning the 2-sound, I'm so efficient I put them away, but the 2-sound flip book was a little smaller than that. They were learning the 2-sound flip book. Then they began 3 sounds. Then it went into like experience stories, but I want to hear a little bit more background about when it went to 3 sounds. When children are learning 2 sounds, it's a whole class lesson, allowing them to learn how to blend words and learn vocabulary if they don't know the vocabulary. When the first children are ready for 3 sounds, the whole class is then given the 3-sound flip book in whole class lessons to model 3-sound blending. Now, I know how to set up, or I feel I know how to set up a learning environment, but I don't know how children learn. By that I mean I don't know why sometimes or someday this child comes to school and can't read a two-sound word. Next day the child comes, knows it. If I knew what was going on in that child's mind from here I don't know to here I do, I could revolutionize teaching. But I don't. It happens, all we do is set the environment up for us, or it, and hope for the best. Provide lots of experiences, lots of opportunities, and then wait for the child's mind to learn, which given the time and the patience it will do. But I know, see, like the reading program has this nice framework of two-sound words, then three-sound words, then phrases, and so on in a nice kind of sequence for children like Sam. But I also know some children may be capable of jumping ahead of where I think they are. So I will show three-sound blending to everyone in the safety of a whole class lesson. Remember I said those cards are not used for testing? I would say sounding out, nurse, nurse, nurse. That's a whole class lesson. The whole class can do that together. So even though some children may still be working with two sounds, when the first children are ready for three sounds, we all get three sounds as a whole class lesson. When the first children are ready for the phrase level, we begin experience stories. This is also my cue card for the experience story. The other cue card fell off, so I had to reread the thing, and I wrote it on the back. This, if I wrote it on the back, it would show through. This says, more people cut down their Christmas tree than buy it at a lot. Sounds strangely math their way kind of oriented group story for the class. But in this case, the class is doing this classic experience story kind of thing where the teacher's up there, you know, in the class is saying, well, what should we write? And the teacher's pumping them for words and stuff like that. Only instead of writing it out, they're stamping it out. This is when children are ready for the phrase level because it kind of, you know, helps them with phrases. These are longer than 2 or 3 sound words, or whatever. This is a phrase level thing. But it also does not harm children who are at the 2 sound level or at the 3 sound level to watch the teacher stamping out long words and see how this whole process goes. Just like when we're doing whole class experience stories in class, we don't say, well, let's see, you guys are ready for the whole class experience story and you guys are not. We do it for all the children and see what rubs off. And a next level of whole class experience story, this teacher's opted to decode or to code the spellings and link things together and stuff like that. I prefer just to write it out. It's kind of an individual choice. Write it out with no codings or anything. This teacher has stamped it out and then written it out underneath. Yeah, underneath. Now, at this level, this would be when there are children who are ready for the transition level. The class experience stories would switch to this kind of format, so that the bottom student in class still can see words stamped out, okay, and there'll be words here that the person even reading 2 sound levels can still read, so that they're all exposed to whatever the faster students are ready for in the safety of the whole class. So that much as I can pretend to know the right sequence, I'm allowing children to see more than what I think they're ready for all the time.